Welcome to our next episode of
Fandom
Family
Chats.
This is a production of Family Fan Clubs on Facebook. You can find us all over Facebook. You can find us all over social media under Fandom Family Chats. Look us up, get dialed in, get plugged in, and get ready to listen to some crazy people talk crazy stuff. Hey guys, welcome back to FFC. I'm Maureen.
I'm Tiffany.
and I'm Jeanette.
And we are back with one of our finale episodes. They did split this into two different episodes, so we aren't having a 2-hour finale episode tonight. The finale will be next week, or the season finale. To clarify my remarks about it felt like a goodbye, I understand that they can't say see you next year until they have officially been renewed, but you can still sound like you're saying a final goodbye without having your season be renewed and actually meaning a final goodbye, because you might know if there's not going to be another season.
Yeah.
So that's what I was saying there. But we are here with all the wiser. And I complained a little last week about not getting, or about having the 2-hour season finale, 2 different episodes. And so I was like, originally was like, okay, good. I'm glad. I'm not happy anymore.
Yeah, I wish it was still like, I wish we could see it all.
I reject that ending completely and wholeheartedly reject it. So now I'm a little mad that they listened so acutely to what we were saying before we even produced it. How do they keep doing that? Are we just that amazingly intelligent that we could predict what they're going to do?
I think that's what it is.
I'm good with that. Well, let's go with that. But we did get into the governor who got into a helicopter crash. Obviously, we knew that he was going to be in trouble because we saw the preview. I didn't expect it to be a helicopter crash. Like that was.
No, I just thought he was going to have a heart
scary.
attack or something. Like I didn't realize there was like a big accident like that.
Yeah. And I like how they focused on the pilot too. That was a nice transition to go between those stories, how they did it. I think it was well done. I think this episode was well done. But he was in the accident, and obviously we kind of knew that him going to Chastain was not gonna be his preferred place.
I swear I was in my head, I thought, I bet you're glad we kept that trauma center open now, aren't you, sir? You would have been in trouble.
And the reason wasn't because he thought there weren't good doctors there. The reason was because I know you'll want to kill me because you don't like me. Like,
have you met these people? Like, no, they would never do that.
But even in that, I thought you were the good guy here, Governor. So you're telling all these people this, and yet you know that you are so detestable that people literally would want to kill you. So even you don't have a very high opinion of yourself and what you're doing. And it just, I don't like this guy. I don't like him. I don't trust him. I don't like anything he promised. I don't like any of it. I totally agree. No. I just read heart attack during his tantrum.
Well, that's what it was.
I didn't read this. I didn't read it beforehand.
I didn't either. I read my parts, but not the whole thing.
I did part of this while watching my 4-year-old, who was also having tantrums, and I'm comparing here. I'm like, you know what? This looks pretty similar. I'm gonna put it in.
I was gonna say, how did his compare to hers?
How did it compare to the 4-year-old's tantrums?
Very, very similar, actually.
Shocking. But he did demand to be transferred. And I like that you could hear him screaming, "This is an Atlanta General, transfer me immediately." Like, dude, do you realize what just happened to you? Do you realize that you were just in a life-ending plane crash that someone else is also like, he's so self-centered that he didn't ask how anybody else was.
Nope.
This pilot who was nearer to death than he was asked if he was okay. The other people asked if he was okay. All he cared about was being moved to another hospital because he is the elite governor of Georgia, of Atlanta. I mean, he is of Atlanta, but
yeah.
And then the other crazy thing, him not being honest about his medical records. What is his reasoning behind that, though? I do. Who
I can
said it?
understand maybe you don't want it out there to the public. You don't want everyone knowing. Okay, like I can understand why that may have people not have confidence in electing you. Got it. But like you're like it needs to be in your file for like your doctors to see. Like that's sort of important. So that didn't make any sense.
Well, I guess files are, you can find files. Anyone can be corrupt enough to find a file. So if it's not in a file, you can't find out about it. Haha. But you would think that you would at least, and even Conrad said this, you'd think he'd at least tell the doctors caring for him that he had this.
Yes.
Like you don't want the public to find out, fine. You don't want it on a file, fine. But if you are actively being treated by a medical professional, they need the full scope of what's going on with you.
Yeah.
They probably could have better prepared for this heart attack had they known there were 2 other stints in there.
Yeah.
He didn't say a friggin' word. That's crazy. And I don't remember who said it. If it was, I feel like it was Belle who said it, that men like that who aren't actually powerful think that things like this are weakness. And so they keep it to themselves. Or am I mixing shows there?
Oh, I don't know.
No, I'm pretty sure that was Belle.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Tiffany would know. She doesn't watch any other medical dramas, so we'll just ask her.
I haven't this week.
I do. I watched The Good Doctor.
Oh, well, never mind then.
So there.
I don't watch that one.
It's what she meant is Tiffany doesn't watch any of the medical dramas that I personally watch.
Yes, that's exactly what I meant.
And so I want your opinions on this because I didn't know what to think about how he told AJ, do this thing to bump me to the top of the list and I won't take this back. Like, what were your guys' opinions on that? The essential blackmail.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It didn't surprise me at all.
I don't trust it.
I don't trust it either. But I also understand why they're gonna roll with it because I mean,
do they have a choice?
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. I mean, what do they have to lose at that point? So you might as well give it a shot and hope that he will stick to his word, but I don't trust it either. We'll see.
You know, I was kind of thinking that they would get the money faster if they just let him die.
Well,
because the other person who was running for governor is who they wanted in there.
Unless, like Kit said, though, that it gets spun to where it was their negligence that allowed him to die. And then there goes all their credibility.
You have to wonder how that is going to come out because I'm hoping that they aren't hoping to end the season with Chastain. Do we know if Chastain will survive? And then it's the end of the season.
Yeah,
because I think that they need to tie that up. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, especially when shows get to this point, and like you said, we don't know if they're continuing or not. I mean, obviously we hope they are, but since we don't know for sure, I prefer things to be nice and tidy so that I'm not left like with some sort of big cliffhanger that never gets resolved.
And sometimes shows would do this, like Sanita did this, where they intentionally changed the script to end that way in the hopes that seeing this cliffhanger, they would renew, and they didn't renew. Yes. So it was 2 years before there was another season that came out of that. And that was because the fandom fought so hard for it.
Yeah.
If they do that here, this is a small network. I doubt that they are going to renew it if they don't want to renew it. Like nothing is going to change that. So they're going to, I'm assuming that in the off chance or on chance that they don't get renewed, they have to tie this up a little tighter at the end of the next episode. So I'm wondering how that's going to come out because it has to come out that he had 2 other stints.
Yeah. It just feels like a lot to tie up.
I know it does.
It really does.
Especially introducing new storylines. But I guess Conrad did say to AJ, so if he doesn't follow through, then we're just going to pretend HIPAA doesn't exist. And AJ's like, there's not going to be any pretending. I'm just going to tell everybody. But is that really where we want to see our characters going?
Not really.
So
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I would have rather like us just tied it up nice and neat. Like, I mean, I know it would have been out of character for the governor, but I would have rather like them, which from the preview, I honestly thought that's what was going to happen. They were going to do something amazing to save him. And he was going to actually like
that's what I thought.
Have a little bit of a soul somewhere inside of him and like be grateful and like give them their money, but it doesn't look like that's the way it's working out. And I don't know.
Yeah. And I think it would have been nice had they taken other precautions,
Mhm.
like getting him to do it in writing,
Yep.
signing his name, stipulating this, and also writing in there that he had 2 prior stints done in the chance that something goes wrong, that they will be able to produce that so he cannot use that against them.
Yeah.
I think that would have been smarter to get all of that in writing. And
Mhm.
Yeah.
it feels like they just put themselves in too much of a purgatory almost. Like, I don't think he could very easily go back on his word. What's to stop him from doing that?
Right.
You don't
And
have
even
the higher ground here.
yeah. And if they do tie it up in the next episode, it's going to be rushed because there's
Mhm.
going to be so much else happening. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm going to try to remain hopeful, but I'm not sure how they're going to make it work.
No. I'm sure they will in a way that we don't expect, which is what I'm
Mhm.
banking on. But
Yeah, because the last few episodes of this season have been so good. So I'm just
Mhm.
gonna like trust that it's gonna be something
Yeah.
I'm gonna enjoy.
And they didn't actually operate on him yet.
No.
This case ended with that was fast. We might have found a heart. So
Mhm.
maybe they will still get it in writing in the next episode. Maybe Kit will be like, okay, wait a minute. We're
Yeah.
going to do this because we don't have another choice, but we're also going to protect ourselves. I mean, that's one of the
Yeah.
reasons Kit became CEO, because she thinks ahead like that.
Right.
So maybe
Right.
that will happen in the next episode, because he's going to have surgery next episode, or
Yeah.
he has to, I assume, unless he dies before he gets there. But I also liked Leela and Billy working together, and even working with Cade. I
Mhm.
liked watching Cade and Billy work together on the pilot. And the big thing they focused on there was, you realize that if she dies, he could get her heart.
That kind of got to me though. I was like, oh, I didn't think about that.
Mhm. Because that
That
would
would
be a
have
heart
been
right there in that hospital.
that would be awful. Like,
Mhm.
I'm glad that that stressed me when they said it.
What really made me tear up is how they fought so hard for this girl. What was her name? Her name was Thea.
Mhm.
And they worked so hard for, first of all, the brain coming out of the skull like that was like, oh my gosh. I didn't want to see it inflating like a balloon outside the skull. Like, that was disturbing. That scared me. I didn't know that was a possibility, and now I'm going to have nightmares.
I thought it was
I-
gonna explode, so I was
yeah.
just like,
That's
okay,
exactly what I was
what's it
waiting
gonna
for.
do?
Am I the weirdo that enjoys like the neurosurgery more than any of the other surgeries on all the shows? Like, I think it's so fun to watch them do those things.
I think it's interesting to learn about and learn the facts of it and how it works and learn how the brain works. Do I actually want to see it perform? No.
I'm okay with seeing it performed.
No.
I guess I am the weirdo. Okay. If Amanda was here, she'd say the same.
She would love that. Yes,
She
I
would
guarantee
love
you she
it.
does.
Yes.
Jane and Nora also really, my kids also like my older one. No, she's not for that.
Mhm.
But
Blood and guts, I don't mind, but the brain coming out of the skull
yes, it
just
was
was weird.
it was the inflating. Well, I also don't like them. I don't know. I've been under the knife too many times, so it just knowing what happens outside when I'm asleep is scary.
I can understand that.
But the part that made me tear up after they worked so hard, Billy standing at that counter after she opened her eyes, and Billy started to cry a little bit when she realized that she was saved. I mean,
Yeah.
what a great way for that story to end. And Billy needed that win so flipping bad. I mean,
Mhm.
everybody did, but Billy especially needed this win.
She did.
And she fought like hell for it. And I loved that part so much. I
Yeah.
really did. I cried a
Yeah.
little bit. I won't lie.
It was nice, like seeing them all work together. Like, I wasn't on here last week to tell y'all that I don't know if I can say these words out loud, but I think I'm a Cade fan. And
I
I
said,
think
if I can do it, anybody in the world can do it.
it happened. It's like, now that we've like moved away from Conrad and Cade and we have these new relationships happening, I like it. I'm all for it. I like them all.
It was a little weird to see just kind of the switch off at first, like
Musical chairs.
exactly like
Yeah.
the musical chairs from Irving.
I love
It,
that.
it was a little awkward, but I'm like,
I don't think
this fits. I
it
like
was
it.
For me, it wasn't awkward at all, which is strange that it wasn't awkward. Like even like last week, as soon as like Kate and Yamada had like their like scene, I was like, oh, I like this. Like, okay. And then I mean it moved very fast because everybody seems to be in a good place in their relationships now. But I like it. I'm totally here for it. I have nothing bad to say about any of this.
Mm-mm. They have so much more chemistry than Kid
Yes.
and Conrad did at all.
I mean, poor sweet Kate. I really thought this lovely actress, but I honestly thought she was just dry as could be. And I
Mhm.
didn't think she could do anything else. But it's like there's a different spark in her now, like overnight. So let's keep it this way. And I liked Yamada all along. Like, I don't know. I thought he was handsome and I was like, okay, this is something new and different. And but he didn't work with Billy. It felt really forced. And so this
Mm.
doesn't feel forced. This feels right.
The opening scene was nice to see with Billy and Conrad. That was
Yes.
sweet.
I know. I'm so excited. It was all
Definitely
good.
like
And like we said, Yamada and Kate, that was good too. I even liked where he was like, how about we ride in together? Because that'll give me an excuse to like have to ride back with you afterwards. I was like, oh, I like it. I mean, she's showing more affection and like and wanting to be with him than the whole time she was with Conrad.
that.
Can I just once again point out how much I love being right?
Well, we
I
know.
just, the only problem I had with her was with Conrad because she was very robotic. She was very cold. She was very closed off. That was why I hated her character so much. And I
Yeah.
said she should be with Yamada. And look at how much brighter and open. And
Did you say that? Was I not on that episode? I don't.
I
I don't.
said that. Yeah, I did say that. And I don't remember who it was, but like, oh
Well
yeah,
done.
put the two that nobody likes together. Like, no, they should be together.
Well, it worked. So great job, Maureen. I
know.
appreciate you giving the writers that idea and like making that happen for us.
Because she's so much more likable with Yamada. And I think
Yeah.
it's because she took a chance on Conrad and saw, okay, it ended and I didn't break.
Mm-hmm.
My world didn't implode. So, okay, I can be with it. I can give myself a little bit. And I think that's what made it easier to give herself over to Yamada.
Yeah.
And
No, I completely agree.
he's also not as intense as Conrad is.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't work. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I can't even explain like what it is, but like the chemistry feels better.
It does. And I didn't like Yamada before. I
Yeah.
like him now.
Yeah.
Like in those first few minutes of the episode, all the people I hated on The Resident, like, we're cool now. We're friends.
all better.
I like you.
Yeah.
I have
It worked
zero
out.
issues with any characters on The Resident. No. I mean, in the hospital.
mean,
Still
me
kind of hate
either.
the governor, but the doctors,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like them all.
Yeah.
But it was
That's all right.
because Yamada was always competing
Mhm.
with Conrad. He doesn't have to do that anymore. And so
Right.
now he's more himself. And I like that he was like, well, I think everybody ended up with who they should be.
And like even talking about like there's no one that we like everybody. I will even say that Ian had an episode this week that I was like, you know what? I mean, I know he's leaving, but like if he ever comes back, I'm not upset about it because I really felt some growth. I really felt, I mean, I know he didn't tell Kit, but I understand why he still took it upon himself to leave. It's not like he tried to stay, tried to cover it up, like get back into surgery. I don't know. I was okay with him.
But the reason he resigned is so he could still work somewhere else.
But he's got it under control though. I don't think he should stop being a doctor completely. I mean, he's been
I
to
think if he
rehab and he's
cannot
got it.
confess he has this problem, he should
Yeah.
stop practicing because it's going to appear again and then he's going to do the same thing again.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know that I would confess it if you, because I can tell you right now, I would not let, as a parent, if we're talking about like a surgery on like my infant child, I'm not sure that I'm going to have any confidence if I've heard that, even if they fully are recovered. So, I mean, if he's doing well, I don't know. I don't have an issue with it.
But here's the thing, though. He doesn't need to announce it to all of his patients. He needs to announce it to his boss.
Yeah.
Not even any of the other doctors need to know.
Well, I
But
think
the head of the hospital needs to be aware.
I think the difference though there is that he had the problem while he was working. He did things. I don't know that Kit could allow him to continue working there. I think somewhere else where you've mentioned look, I have these problems, but I've like gotten help for it. I think it would be much easier for someone to bring you on than to know that you have already lied to them.
See, I don't know. I don't even that. I don't think he needed to tell them that he had this problem while he was operating. I think he just needed to confess, hey, I had this
Yeah.
addiction. I went to rehab. I handled it. I did this. And I think that not telling people who need to be aware that you have this problem is dangerous. And we even talked about in the episode where Cade went to go talk to him at rehab.
Mhm.
And she said, I'm done with you. And then it's like he shut off. Like, okay, well, if you're not gonna help me, then I don't need you. And I think that still is a little bit of his attitude. I think that he was going there with good intentions to tell Kit,
Yeah.
but he couldn't bring himself to do it because he's still inherently selfish.
Yeah.
And I don't think that this is going to stick.
I think it's going to stick simply because I think the storyline's over. Like, I don't think we'll come back to it.
Do we think he's gone for good?
I think probably so. Yeah.
I think if he's gone for good, then Cade's going for good. I think as long as Cade's on the show, he's going to have some role, whether in mention or some or otherwise.
Maybe a mention, but I don't think he'll be back like at the hospital. And I don't think he'll be like on the show. I don't think he'll be on the show at all. Or he'll be like more like a Kyle, where like we'll see him pop up like one more time, like, you know, just here and there. I don't think he'll have a role on the show anymore. But this week we also, so like besides Ian, but Belle returned this week, which that
I
was
missed him.
Me too. And I think it might even like bring us back to like Devin continuing his trial with like the MS and all of that. So I think that'll be nice to see too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Devin really seems like he wants to continue with his trial, no matter what.
Yeah.
Well, at least Leela convinced him of that, so that was nice to see. I really liked their moment together this week.
Guys, why did I think he was getting ready to propose?
I did
100% thought that was coming at the end.
Look, in
Yep.
shows, if you use your first and last name, which that is like a big ick of mine, guys. This is like the biggest ick I have. I've said this before. I hate it. They do it in every single show. I've never once looked at my husband. We've been together almost 20 years and said, I love you, David Hudson. He's never said my full name like that either. Like, I think it's weird. Have you all ever done that with like your significant others? That's not a thing. And
Not even when he proposed to me did that happen.
No, he didn't say like, I mean, he didn't say, Jeanette, Ashley Peters, would you please marry? No, like this is what they do in shows all the time, and nobody does that. It's my biggest ick ever. But because he said her full name and she said his full name back, I thought, oh, we're getting engaged. Like this is happening. And I got real excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then nothing.
And cutscene. What?
I know, that was kind of my reaction.
So maybe in the next episode, though.
Maybe
That
maybe
would be
they
nice.
ended it there in this episode because it was supposed to be strung together.
Maybe. That would be nice. That would be nice.
I do have one tiny complaint because I can't do an episode of any of our shows without a complaint, apparently, because I'm a, I don't know, narcissist.
Complainer. Yeah.
But what business does Leela have having those kind of nails on as a surgeon?
I didn't even notice her nails. Now I want to go look.
They were a little longer than yours, Jeanette, and they were painted white.
Oh, that
And they
sounds
were like,
pretty, girl.
but they were pretty. She's a surgeon, though. No way would a surgeon be able to have those on her hands. Because they looked like fake nails. Like it was weird because when they clasped hands, at first I was like, oh, those are Padma's, because the other ones were a little more plain. And then I
Yeah.
saw it was Leela's hand. I'm like, nope, those are Leela's.
I didn't notice. That's fun though. I don't know. You wouldn't think that you'd be allowed to have long fingernails as a surgeon. I don't think so.
I mean, I guess it's just maybe it's an old wives' tale, but I've never had a surgeon. And I've had a couple female surgeons. I've never had one that A, nails painted, B,
Yeah.
fake nails on, because you're about to go into somebody's body. So typically you don't have things on that can be removed.
I guess you'd have gloves
Like
on.
a hazard.
So like,
But still, what if the glove breaks
Yeah.
and you have a fake nail on?
yeah, that's
So I
true.
really
Yeah,
don't think you're
you have
supposed to do
scrub
that.
there.
But I mean, they make a lot of money, so
Yeah.
that's something women who have money like to do a lot, is get their nails done at pretty. I don't know.
To like puncture something inside the body.
Mhm.
I mean, I
And
can
if you
get
have
really
sharp
tight
nails and you
with
put
mine.
gloves on,
Yeah.
then that could be the thing that breaks the glove open.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
So I've never had a surgeon that had nails. Like they're all trimmed short. Male and female
I don't think I've
surgeons
ever
I've
really
had.
had a doctor that had like nice nails. I mean, usually even my kid's pediatrician, I feel like their nails are really short and like they don't have long nails. I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever.
No.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna look
nurses
at
do. I've had nurses that do, but
I got my
not.
doctor's
Yeah,
appointment tomorrow.
nurses,
I'm gonna
not
be looking at
doctors.
everybody's hands in the whole
Right?
office. Maybe I'll
Watch.
ask her.
Someone's gonna our biggest fan is gonna come on and tell me that I'm wrong and then it's actually Padma's hand. But I don't think it was Padma's hand because it
I'm
looked
gonna
like
have
it
to go
had
back.
it looked like it had the black sleeve on it.
I'll have to go back and look because I didn't pay attention. I don't know. Interesting.
That's all I could think about every time I saw her on the screen afterwards is show me your hand right now.
We'll have to check that out.
That's the very first scene that we see of her is see her grasp Padma's hand, and then I was like, oh crap.
Yeah.
But
That
that
was-
was sweet though.
It was.
Got a little more of Padma this week.
Mhm.
Just we've got, like 30 seconds of her and Leela talking. Oh, she's doing better. Okay, bye.
Yeah, that was it.
Oh, well, that's nice. Thanks, guys.
Are they not bringing her sons by to see her?
I don't know. I mean,
They might not
It's-
be able to.
because
But why? It's not like
They
she's
have-
unsupervised.
They
It's
have
not
rules for these
COVID,
facilities.
but Padma can go in there. I mean,
She's
Leela
an
can
adult.
go in there.
Children aren't allowed at those facilities.
That just seems like for someone with PPD. That seems detrimental to not reintroduce their children to them while they are under the care of a physician.
Yeah. No, I mean, it makes sense, but
That seems like a mistake.
I
And
bet
it's making her, I feel like it's making her more sad. Because it's just a
Probably
stark reminder of how further in her mind affirming that how badly she's screwed up.
yeah.
That I didn't like that. It made me sad to know that she hasn't seen her boy since she went in there. And again, because as the resident, we don't know how long she's been in there.
I know, because they always jump and they don't tell us that they've jumped. So I wasn't sure how long she had been there.
But I'm
Long enough to make hats.
and take a class. Because she didn't know how to make the hats before. So she had to take a class and learn how to do it and then do it successfully. But it is nice to see that relationship coming back to the closeness that they had prior to that. I really enjoy watching that come back together.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
Leela, I think when they're strong together, when their bond is strong, Leela to me automatically seems stronger. And I think
Mhm.
that's what I've been missing the last few weeks from Leela, was she hasn't seemed like a very strong character. Not in thoughts, not in ideals, not in what she's doing. Like nothing about her seemed like she was firm and strong and a good character. But when she's with Padma and they're connected again, I feel that. And I mean, it helps that they're twin sisters in real life, so they probably naturally have that bond already
Right.
that they're pretending to have that they don't really have to pretend to have on screen. Did anybody else forget that Marco existed
No.
when they said his name?
Yeah, I had no idea who he was when he was talking to him. I'm like, who's that?
And it took me almost the entire episode to realize his name was Marco. So I
Yeah.
didn't recognize him on appearance, and then he said Marco. And I was like, who the heck is that? Who
Who's
is this?
Marco? Yeah, I totally forgot about that storyline, if I'm honest.
What's been a while, hasn't it? Since we heard anything about this, it was like what, the beginning of the season when he came on, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, it could have been that long ago. This is only episode 12 of the season. So I mean,
It
It's
was
really not been
September
that
feels
long.
like a very, very long way away.
It's true. It does.
but I mean, I'm glad that because at first he, was kind of not wanting to do
Mhm.
it. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, Devin, that's a lot of money this man's willing to give. Like, don't we think we can figure this out?
Mm-hmm.
And so thankfully Leela had the
He-
same thoughts basically.
And
He is a little crazy, though.
a little,
He's very crazy. But
but he's willing to work on things that are important to Devin, and really working on what this guy wants him to work on it's not necessarily detrimental to anybody. It doesn't harm anybody to study that stuff out.
yeah.
I mean, not yet. It doesn't. when it comes to trials, maybe, but I think having Devin do that portion of it is the best outcome you could have, because any other doctor wouldn't care about their patients and what they're going through in the trials.
Yeah.
Devin will actually care what they're going through in the trials and what's happening to them, and he will put a stop to anything that's unnecessarily damaging anybody.
Right. Right.
So he could look at it that way too, where he's the best person to have on that.
Yes. And it's beneficial to Bell because I mean we're seeing that what he's doing, he said like his treatment before it worked, but it's not worked like it has, like it did the time before. And so
Mhm.
he's in need of something else to kind of get him
Yeah.
back to where he was. So hopefully this trial will be,
Yeah.
the thing to do that.
And I love watching how responsible he is, because Kit picked up on the fact that he didn't want to jump right back in. And she was like, what is it? Did it not work? And his response was, I just feel like we should wait before I jump in.
Mhm.
Old Bell never would have done that, but he is taking stock truly of how his body is feeling, and he's listening to it so he doesn't endanger anybody else.
Yeah. Kit bugs me a little bit that I feel like she's pretty pushy in
Yeah.
that sometimes. And I'm like, it's like, why are you pushy? Like, he's an old man. If he wants to just not do it, like, let's just let him not do it. It's not like you need him for money. Like, so,
Mhm.
like, I don't understand what the push is to get him back
Because
to
I
it.
think if she gives into that, she feels like she's giving into this disease and giving up on him recovering from it. And also, if Belle stops, it's because the disease has gotten so bad and she's unwilling to accept that. She won't accept that as a reality.
Yeah,
And so
I
I think that in
understand that.
her head, she thinks, if I just act as if it's not the end, if he's not having this, if he's recovered, then he's going to be recovered and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah,
I
can
think she
understand.
does it out of fear that if she does anything differently, then there's going to have a worse outcome.
Yeah. I mean, I can understand that, I guess.
I am curious to see how everything's going to go with, the trial and whatever the other guy wants Devin to do for him.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds interesting, crazy, but interesting.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still holding out hope for a proposal
Oh, we need that.
next week.
We
We
hope
need
so.
that.
I mean, they didn't show us one, but I'm really, really hoping that we get one.
Yeah. No, they didn't show us one. I mean, they really didn't really show us much of anything. I mean, I think in the preview itself, it was mostly just more about the governor. But I know at the end of the episode, crazy moment of, I mean, here we all wanted to see Greg again. And so I'm glad that Greg is there with
Sammy and Jake.
Yes. But what's wrong with Sammy? Like,
I don't like that something's wrong with Sammy. I don't like it at all.
you want to know the craziest thought I had to start with?
Hmm.
Before she grabbed her stomach, when they showed them and they were on the plane, and like we had just came from like
I thought heart.
yes, we had just came from the governor needing his heart, and then they showed them, and I was like, hold on, where he can't have Sammy's heart, right? But then
Too
she grabbed her
small.
stomach, and that's why I was like, well, then what's wrong with her stomach? It honestly feels very strange because I don't know how we're going to get to all of this in an
Mhm.
episode.
Yeah, because it's not like it's a continuation or completing another story, at least not that we know of.
It's a brand new one.
Exactly.
So if you end this season with not knowing what's going to happen to that sweet little girl,
I'm mad.
and then Fox cancels the show and we don't get another
I'm
season,
going to be very mad.
I don't know if I'll forgive them for that.
No. Because we love, first of all, you don't do that to children.
She's a child.
Second of all, we love Sammy.
Yeah. And we love Jake and we love
Yes.
Greg and we love them all. But I mean, like, they're sweet. They worked hard to get that sweet little
Mhm.
family. Like, let's not disrupt it in any way.
And like, don't give us things we want, but in a twisted way. Don't do that.
Yeah.
We wanted to see
we
them.
said we wanted them more. This is not what we meant.
No.
No.
Don't twist our words here, Fox.
I'm gonna be really mad if it's her cancer coming back.
I know that was my other thought too.
Well, I couldn't remember exactly. Like, I feel like it's been so long ago that I couldn't remember exactly what kind of cancer she had or what exactly was going. I knew that there was something going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
when they
remember what
first
kind of
got
cancer
her.
it was, but it was like all throughout her organs.
Yeah.
Like
It
everywhere.
would be weird if it came on the pain came on that suddenly.
Mhm.
It would have been a buildup of it, and things
Yeah.
would have been going weird. and
Yeah.
they would have been like, what is this? And then there eventually would have been like the buildup would have gotten so bad that she would have reacted that way, but they would have seen, maybe they did, but on the plane, they seemed so shocked that it
Yeah.
didn't seem like there were other symptoms leading up to this.
Well, and the fact, I mean, they know that she's had it before, and one of your dads is a doctor. Like, you would have been paying attention to these things. Like, you wouldn't have
Plastic
ignored it like
surgeon.
that. Still, I mean, still a doctor though. I mean,
He's still a
like,
But we did find out that anybody, any doctor of any kind can be a plastic surgeon. So it depends on if you went to medical school for plastic surgery or if he's like a
all I
podiatrist who's
know
doing.
is Mark Sloan and Jackson Avery are plastic surgeons, and they are amazing. And I understand that Amanda's not on here to understand this reference,
Nope.
but I just assume that Jake is also as amazing as they are.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
He is. But their level
He's
of
not a Will
training is different.
Halstead like type of plastic surgeon, okay? Which we know I love Will, but he's not that sort of plastic surgeon.
No, but Will was a medical doctor first.
Yes.
So maybe Jake was. Maybe he went to school for plastic surgery specifically because you can do that as well. So maybe he did. I don't know.
Who knows?
Anyway, she does have a doctor for a dad. I wasn't trying to I love Jake. I wasn't trying to doubt.
All the plastic surgeons are going to be coming at you now, Maureen, because you just basically said they weren't real doctors.
I said it depends on what kind of doctor they were before becoming a plastic surgeon.
They're not as good as these other real surgeons, but
all
they're
right.
okay.
That is not the wording I used.
But yeah, I think the preview is mostly going to be the surgery, and it looks like Belle, which sometimes things don't make sense. The man's getting a new heart, so why does the general surgeon have to jump in there? He's not a cardio doctor.
He's not even the head of surgery anymore.
Right. And you've got two, it's not even like it's just let's say for some reason that you need both of the doctors doing something. You've got now Austin and Yamada. He just went home with Kate, just calling back in. It's not like it's that big of a deal. So I don't know. I'd like to see why Belle is needed other than just a plot point. Hopefully they come up with a good reason, because I've watched enough Grey's Anatomy to understand that the general surgeons are not needed in a heart transplant unless something else is going wrong at the same time for some reason and they need him, which maybe that's the case. We'll see.
Maybe that is the case. Maybe Sammy's not her stomach, it's her heart. And maybe Yamada and AJ are already in there. But do they need two heart surgeons on a little girl?
I don't know.
No,
I don't know
they
what's
shouldn't.
going to happen. In that case, I don't know. I say we sacrifice the governor if Sammy.
I think they should have done that already. But that's just.
I mean, I don't wish harm on anyone, but if it's between him and Sammy, he can.
Lucky we're not his doctors.
This show brings out a side of me that I didn't realize I had, because I've wished death on more people on this show than I have on any other show. Yes. That's not usually how my response is. But I kind of wish they just let the governor die at this point. And, they could be too that the governor requested Belle in case something goes wrong, because then Belle can go down. So maybe he's also planning ahead to, you kill me, fine, then you're going to be screwed too.
But if you died during a heart transplant because you didn't have the cardio guys operate on you, I feel like that's on you. That's.
Yeah, but the press isn't going to spin it that way. His people aren't going to spin it that way. They'll spin it that Belle was incompetent and needs to be removed, and he will.
Well, hospital lawyers can get you out of that one. Come on, he's not. This isn't even his.
Chastain hospital lawyers don't seem to be all that great.
That's true. That's what we need. We need to hire a better legal team, for sure. For sure.
Every time we've seen Chastain's legal, I don't think they could get the fly off of Pearl. It just. I realized that analogy didn't make any sense. I don't know how to go.
What did you even say? A fly off of what?
Pearl.
Okay.
I couldn't figure out how to say get a fly off of going to prison, because it doesn't sound right. So you know what? It's late and I'm tired.
sure.
And I'm not as smart at this time of night.
It's okay. But yeah, so I think that's all we really saw in the preview. So till next week, I guess.
Next week is the 1 hour season finale. It'll air on Fox Tuesday so you're seeing this on Sunday. You'll see it in 2 days at 8/7 Central, right?
Mhm.
I always feel like I get that mixed up.
I think so. I don't watch it live, so I never know.
You can catch it on Hulu afterwards as well, or on the Fox Now app. But tune in for that, because that's going to be, no matter how you look at it, whether they're returning or not, this is going to be a very important episode. So make sure you tune in. Make sure you're caught up on our recaps and on our reviews. If you have missed one, if you missed an episode, you don't have time to go back and watch an episode, go back and listen to one of our podcast recaps. All the ones before December are only like 30 minutes on The Resident. So you save a little bit of time by listening to those recaps. Last two, been an hour talking about The Resident. You don't really lose time. You spend more time listening to us, but we're funny and we're insightful. So there's that. So tune in for that. Check out our Resident group, Chastain, or it's the Resident Chastain Family Fan Club. We do have our spoiler ban, but we have a spoiler thread where you can talk about all the things happening in there. So when that finale comes out, I have a feeling that people are going to have words that they want to say.
Mm-hmm.
So head over to our group, hit up the spoiler thread, and hash it all out. Talk all, as long as you're nice, be respectful, don't be rude, but hash it all out. Get it all out there. And we will see you next week. Next, we got coming up on Tuesday, you will get our One Chicago episode. And following that, you will have our last Resident recap for the year. Well, no, September. For the season, September, you'll hopefully have new ones if they're renewed. Until next week. Bye, guys.
Bye. Hey. Loving our content? Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget to share our podcast with your family and friends. We want to continue the conversation with you. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, or TikTok under Fandom Family Chats, or one of our ever-growing Facebook groups by searching Family Fan Club. We've also launched a website, Family Fan Club 2021 at Wixsite.com. You can email us there and keep checking it for announcements and merch coming soon. And of course, be sure to tune in every week for new episodes discussing all your favorite shows.